Hey guys, I'm Tajin here. I'm at my son's school. Not a very good day. I had to come to his school because there was an issue with him fighting with another kid. He was bloodied up a little bit, like just on his knees. Yet, supposedly the other kid like grabbed him by his head and pushed him down on the ground and cut up his knees and was holding him down there. So that upset me, and I wanted to get further into it, but long story short, be very thankful that it's me telling you this story and not my ex-wife. My ex-wife, man, when she tries to explain anything, you're looking at like half an hour minimum, and it could be like the simplest frickin' thing, and I have to like, yeah. She recently was like going to court. Nothing to do with me. She was going to court, and she was taking some people to court, and then every time she would go to court, the judge would just be like, he would just have to cut her off, and she never, because she'd always try to start at the very beginning when she was trying to explain something, instead of just skipping to the end of it. Like, just say what you want, like say the point, get to the point, and she never gets to the point. She just tries to tell this long story that leads to a point. And because she does that all the time, she ended up like pretty much losing in court because she never got to say what she wanted to say, because the judge would just cut her off and be like, yeah, okay, let's move on. And she'd be like, but I didn't, hey, and you can't argue with the judge, so she never ever got to say what she wanted to say. But I'm off topic. I jump around on different topics, but that's different. That's storytelling. If I'm talking to a judge or a teacher or a parent and I'm explaining what's wrong with their kid, I'm not going to be telling them stories about off-topic things. So, yeah, long story short, it ended up being that my son was at fault. He was the instigator. The other kid was pretty much trying to protect himself from my son, and my son fell down while he was trying to like bully another kid. That's pretty much how it turned out. And meanwhile, like for the last, this happened like a week and a half ago, and for the last week and a half, my son has been saying that he's innocent, the other kid was at fault, the other kid was, he didn't really, he said that he was just playing with the other kid, and he was just kind of like chasing him, and then the other kid grabbed him and threw him on the ground, and he cut up, and then he got angry, and then he tried to hit the other kid. But in the video, it looks like, the teachers have a video, and then they got videos in the hallways and whatnot, and in the video, it looks like it's my son gives him like a little jab in the stomach, and then chases him around, and then while my son's chasing him around, probably trying to hit him again, the kid pushes him down. So it pretty much looks like the kid's just defending himself. So yeah. And I got to see my ex-wife, which is always fun. She's horrific. God, is she a horrible person. And every time my son has problems like this, my ex-wife just says, it's because of me. You know how often I see my son? On Sundays, that's it. So, on average, about 4 days out of 30, or 7, 8, what is it, 7, 8, 7, 14, 21, 28, yeah, so like 4.2 days out of 30, I see my son, and somehow everything he does wrong is my fault. That's the joy of being a father. Every single thing it's the joy of being the less aggressive parent. Like, I'm sure if I had a meek ex-wife and I was an aggressive father or a husband, then everything would be her fault. But and here's the funny thing, like, I'm not meek. I think if you watch my videos, you should be able to tell that. People that know, like anyone who's known me in real life meek would be like the farthest word ever to describe me. Like, people have done my tours even have said like, yeah, you're the most aggressive skinny guy I've ever seen, and I'm not skinny anymore, so that's a good thing. I'm slim now. I used to be skinny. But yeah, I'm a very aggressive person. I'm confrontational. I don't take shit. Like you start to give me shit, I will raise my, I will fight back.
But with my ex-wife, I just met my match because she's low class. That's the problem. Like I'm aggressive, but I'm not white trash. You know, I'm aggressive in a educated, scholarly aggressive. I'm not educated as in trailer trash, piece of shit aggressive. And that's, you know, and with that in mind, if you have a university professor debating something with religious trailer park trash, who's going to win the argument? Well, no one's really going to win, but the first person to give up, I guarantee, will be the university professor, because he's just going to get frustrated at the ignorance of the other person, and he's going to walk away from it. And that's what ends up happening, because no matter how right I am in any discussion, she won't give up, and she'll yell like, you know, shit. If we're discussing if it's better to buy a car new or better to buy a car used, she will scream. She will scream and fucking like throw shit. like just discussing something that's not even emotional or directly related to us will still cause her to get angry and scream and yell and like flip out, even when we're discussing the pros and cons of buying used over new. So yeah, so just that actually came up with us recently, and I'm like, you know, you lose so much money when you buy a brand new car right off the bat, that, and you know, it actually makes a lot more sense to buy a car that's a year or two old, because it still won't need repairs, and the amount of money you save buying used, any repairs it does need in the future, you can use the money that you saved when you bought it, and you'll still be ahead. They say if you were to buy a new car like every 5 years, and if you were just to buy a used car every 5 years, a car that's like, say, 2 years old every 5 years, instead of a brand new car every 5 years, in the end you end up saving like $100,000, and that's factoring in the fact that used cars will need more maintenance. You're still going to be $100,000 ahead. So yeah, so people that always buy brand new are gonna, yeah. So anyways, and it's been studied. There's been, like, you know, people have, that's the science of it, and you can map it out, like average cost of repairs, average cost of cars, average cost of average loss due to depreciation, etc., so forth. It's not really an arguable thing. You can have preferences. You can be like, yeah, well, I don't mind paying an extra. I don't mind losing the money because I like the smell of a new car or whatever. Like, that's just preferences. But we weren't arguing preferences. We were arguing what's financially better. And that's not arguable because there is a definitive answer. But it doesn't matter. She's still going to scream and yell until I say, okay, yeah, you're right, buying brand new is better. That's the only way to end the argument. So, yeah, So everything my son does wrong is 100% my fault, and there's no way around that. And yeah, so that was my day. And then I gave the lady some money as an apology, because that's the Taiwanese way of doing things. In Taiwan, if your kid hits another kid, you give the parents money. And then I heard that she wanted, like, one of the reasons why I came today. Another reason I came today too is because she yelled at my son and made him cry, and then so the way we referred to it too in the meeting was, yeah, you scolded my son. You scolded my son and made him cry, so that's why I'm here today, or that's one of the reasons why I'm here today. And then she's like, I never scolded him. I just asked him questions. I asked him, why were you chasing my son, and why were you doing this? And I'm like, yeah, but a question can be scolding. And she's like, no, it can't. And I'm like, sure it can. Why were you chasing my son? Why were you doing that? See, that's scolding. If I ask a kid that question, he's gonna cry because I can scare the living heck. Trust me. I do it at school for a joke, to be honest. As a teacher, I did it just the other day. A kid wrote an answer to a question, and I pointed to it, and I'm like, "Why did you write that?" And the kid, you know, like just pure fear. And then I said, "It's totally correct, very good." And then the whole class got the joke and they all laughed. But nonetheless, I still did scare the kid. But yeah, you know, it's like you can give a kid a compliment and still make them cry if it's, you know, it's all due to the tone of your voice. So I didn't like her saying, "Oh, I was just asking your son a question. I didn't scold him at all." I'm like, that's, you know. But anyways, yeah. But my son turned out to be the one at fault. And yeah. And then I got scolded a bit by my ex for being alive. Yeah, life as a parent. Don't have kids. This is for my Patreon. No, I don't know. I still love my son. He's great. He's very polite and he's great with adults. When adults meet him, they love him because he's well behaved and he's polite with adults. But he's definitely having some problems in school. Oh yeah, and here's a point I really wanted to make in this video. So yeah, everything's my fault, and I only see him 4 days a month. But what's the reality of that? It's her fucking fault. She's with him 26 days a month, and she yells at him every day. She scolds him every day. She's literally beaten him more than once. She's had the police called on her twice. And then when her kid's too aggressive, she says it's my fault. I give him nothing but love, and I rarely ever hit him. I do hit him, but when I hit him, it's like a slap on the hand. It's not, you know, 20 lashes with a stick to the point where his whole leg is black and blue, which is her method. She's done that once. I'm exaggerating a little bit. It's not her method, but she has done it. So yeah. My son's having problems at school, and in my mind, it's understandable because his mother is abusive. And that's my Patreon. That's my life update. How you guys doing?